everybody, and welcome to the Archer Report. I'm your host, Steele Archer, and really good episode coming up here today. Ósìnàkáchì, all the way from Nigeria. It's really late night there at Nigeria, or early morning, I should say. I want to thank you very much, Ósìnàkáchì, for coming on right now, despite of the late night. We're really excited to have you on. We've got a lot of news to cover because I've been trying to get you on since you know, the show's restarted here. We've been trying, we finally do. And we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about with TAFs. We have a lot to talk about with ecofairism, and also other various projects that you're involved in, that I'm involved in, and we want to get a news update from you. So first on the news update is, how are you dealing with coronavirus over there in Lagos?
Okay, thank you, Steve, for having me on your show. And it's been a while. And thank you for putting out this Asha show. Reports is very important for us as tech optimist, futurist, and singularitarian. I'm doing good, and you see, we don't really understand where this COVID is taking us to. We are now in a more confused state of our existence. Just the best thing is just to listen to those who are experts, like the health practitioners, and to follow their guidelines and principles. Not to bring in any form of idiosyncrasies, whether political, religious, or anything that has to challenge the positions of the health practitioners. So we are maintaining social distancing here, especially those who let's say convincing for the situation. People who are careful enough, who don't want to plunge into the state of had I known. You know, most people they are just let's say, most people say that it is not as real as people talk about it. I mean, here in Nigeria, but some are trying to say, okay, if it is there, it will be for our own benefit to maintain the instructions, the advice of the health practitioner, so that if it is not there, we won't be at loss. If it is there, we won't be at loss. So that is it. Doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Listen to the experts. Try and do the self-isolation. How are the cases going there in Nigeria? I haven't been looking at the cases here in Australia. We had almost got it down to 0, and then now it's exploded again. You told me last time you were on the show that Nigeria did very well in the face of Ebola. Are they repeating that? Are they repeating that, or is it a different outcome this time?
Well, the truth is that different era, different administration, different consciousness, different awareness. So depends on the people who are up there who are handling the policies. I think I would say that they are trying, but we are having the number is increasing day in, day out, and currently we are close to 20,000 or thereabouts. So even the politicians are mainly in recent time, it is all about the governors and the deputies and the aides and the lawmakers and top government officials. They've been reporting testing positive to the novel coronavirus thereabout. So it's something that that is disturbing. And if you check the EU policies and orders, for instance, what is it called? They should try sending me a copy of a book, and they said they can't send to Nigeria. It's affecting everything. And when you look at the toppling of the numbers, and the government is talking of opening this thing, what they call it, interstate traveling this week, this today, and the local flights movements. Most people are kicking against that. They're saying that the school will soon reopen, but you can't take such a risk when the number of cases are increasing exponentially day in, day out. Especially tomorrow now, you will hear we have 2,000 more cases. So I think the government need to put very close and tight measures in curbing the situation. And I don't think that there is a sense of transparency in the calculation. Just when Ebola started, we saw everything was really clear, and the government put up good measures, and they followed through. So it is disturbing. One
Wow.
cannot say what he doesn't really have good knowledge of.
Well, that's really interesting, Ósìnàkáchì, and thanks for that update. And you yourself are doing okay, personally?
Yes, I'm
Good.
fine.
Good. All right, that's good to hear. Well, that's really good. That's encouraging. You gotta stay well and safe. So, first on the agenda is TAFs. Let's talk about TAFs. I think TAFs is very important. What's happening with TAFs? Are you doing any projects at the moment? Anything going on that we need to know about as a community? What can we know about TAFs from your end?
So we are doing wonderfully well, and just it's transdisciplinary agora for future discussions. Anyone who cares about the future is welcome to join the agora. So we have a couple of projects. Every quarterly we have a journal. It's ongoing. So journal at TFDS. If anyone has an academic article, can send to journal at TFDS.org. And our annual magazine that is being championed by Dr. Sarita Sharma. And we are calling the call for papers on going, and people are submitting papers, and to submit your papers, you just send your articles. It's free to magazine@tfds.org. And we are working on trying to help in keeping pace. We volunteered yesterday. We just did a program in Trend Academy for technology and stuff in Nigeria. We did a tremendous program with Alexander, with Andrea Lopez, who attended Goku, and Jazz Ali. They came together with Abat Lewandowski, training the academia here in Nigeria. So it was a volunteer work, and we also volunteered to take on the Techidia Institute on exponential growth in business. And most of those who prepared the lectures, we have Edward Hodgins, um, we have from Nigeria, we have a guy from Nigeria, which includes what's his name? This Gennady Storylov, and and some other guys there in TAFs. So they prepared a very good course on singularity and the age of abundance. This is what we need to be doing. We need to educate people as we plunge into the age of technological complexities. So we cannot run away from it. It's our responsibilities, and we need to also help those who are not understanding the direction of technology and all that. So we just need to do it. And we are working hard in making sure that all those things turn out to be fruitful. And that's what we're doing now. So a lot of projects, you can find our ongoing projects on our sites and our social handles.
Yeah, well, that's really exciting, and the development of those is really good. And well done on your conferences as well. These are really important. I enjoy rewatching every single conference that you've ever done. These are really interesting conferences, and we want to talk about fearism in a sec, because you've been busy on the fearism side as well with Des Schuber and Mr. Fisher and some others. So that's exciting. But in TAFs, yes, these conferences are very important. And how can people support TAFs? How can people get on board, support TAFs, watch TAFs, donate, whatever they have to do? If you need donations or how can people support? Because this is a very important organization that needs support, needs help, it needs love, it needs views, it needs nurturing, it needs academics to come on and help find. How can people get behind and support? It's just sharing the posts. That's a help, right?
Yes, it helps, and also it's not just by sharing posts. People need to really come on board. When we have people's expectations. You know, you have people expectations, those out there. There are things that you cannot find in traditional institutional organizations, but we need novel ideas. People can contribute, people can advise, people can send in their ideas after going through our site through info@tfds.org. People can contact me on my social handles. People can meet the offices and contribute. We welcome people's advice. If anyone wants to support us, you can write to info@tfds.org. We have a structural settings. We don't just do things, you know. And we are also looking at social issues and social crisis. People come live to talk about it. We invite people. We will be setting up programs after, when we are done with our modeling. We are trying to fix one or two things so as not to make mistakes in our modeling of ideas. You know, don't just do things. You need to follow procedures in doing it so that it will fall in line with the reality of the moments. So we're working hard, and I think we'll come up with something more exciting. So that is it. So anyone who wishes to support us should just write to us. If you want to be a part of what STAFS is doing, you just write to info@tfds.org, or you meet any of the executive officers to discuss things about STAFS.
Well, we have a lot of academics, intelligentsia, intelligent people who watch this show, and reach out to TAFS and submit your papers and submit what you can. You'll be integrated into a larger world. It's not just TAFS. Once you get into the TAFS sort of ecosystem, the ecosystem is quite broad, and there might be lots of opportunities. People don't realize how many opportunities TAFS can sort of give you once you go out to all the different partner organizations and friendly organizations and everything else. And there's a great network of people inside of TAFS and in and around orbiting the TAFS network that is just really awesome to unlock and unbox if you're an academic, or if you're an intelligentsia, or if you're some person that's even interested in doing better things for humanity and upgrading yourself and humans around the world. So no, really, this is a really important conversation, and it's really important that people understand that TAFS is a very, very important organization. And I really thank you for your hard work in that arena, Ósìnàkáchì. You're doing a great job. You always have been doing a great job in that arena before TAFS, and you will continue, I hope, after TAFS as well. If that ever stops being a thing, you're a great guy. So that's really good. Well, so support TAFS, jump on board, submit your papers. If you've got books, throw them over as well. This is good. And speaking of books, we've just talked about the ecofearism, which you helped author in. This is a really interesting book, Ósìnàkáchì. I've been reading it, a lot of it. Really interesting. It's a subsect of theorism. We did a show about this in our last one. Firstly, let's talk about this. Firstly, what is theorism, Ósìnàkáchì?
Well, I have been here talking about explaining about theorism, and I define theorism as the relationship between fear and life. There is always this intimate relationship, and I have written severally. I've explained to people my controversial the definition of fear. I've said several that the psychologists and the sociologists gave a wrong definition about fear, and they call it negative emotion. But fear is never a negative emotion, and I think it's just like the negativity or the positivity of fear depends on the subject of fear, which is the human person. So you can't totally classify fear without talking about how the human person utilizes that emotion, because outside the mind of the human person is never an emotion. It is a consciousness. It's something that triggers and makes us to act. When we see that signal, it informs us. There's a copy principle. There's a connection that makes us to act. So when we act now, the resultant effects of our actions defines whether it is a negative or a positive emotion. But reality have shown that that fear has helped in our evolutionary states, help us to go in for invention, innovations, creativities, and all that to protect our kinds for not going into extinction. So that is it. So that is about fearism. It's a
Absolutely. And
broad
so,
something. Yeah,
so
it's
how do
something
we
that is
get?
broad.
That's
Okay,
a good
continue.
explanation of fearism. So how do we get from fearism to a subsect, which is ecofearism? Because obviously the book is premised on this idea that the environment is under stress globally, and that a lot of people worry about that, but that energy is not sort of channeled anywhere. What is ecofearism underneath the banner of fearism?
So when you talk about ecofearism, it's it's a product of eco crisis. You know, I was the lead author of the book, written by Dash and Bharani. So when you look at, I tried to make it kind of write it in the light of historicism. In our evolving states, we started by gatherings, right? We started what you call primitive ways of existence from the Stone Age. So something informed us. We had this sense of fear of death. We don't want to starve to death. So we started gathering. We started the idea of farming just to protect our kind. That is the sense of self-preservation. So this knowledge pushed us to gathering things. But as we evolve, we started looking for things like markets. We started inventing things to help us have a higher level of productivity, right? So this evolutionary process in our mind, because my own idea and perspective of evolution is a better understanding of reality. So as we continue to progress, we started inventing things, but at the point, this thing started turning against us. What we thought was right started becoming wrong for the environment. For instance, when we discover the black gold, that is fuel, petrol. So when we discovered it, we thought that it was a breakthrough. Um, that pump in uh, carbon, wrong carbons that affects our society, right? So we are talking about green energy. Most of those things that we thought was a kind of a breakthrough turned to be something that fights against our kind, right? So before we thought about inventing tools to fight animals, and from there we started using it to fight ourselves. So and most of all these things become a problem. So you talk about the atomic bombs and all those things. We were like, let's use fear, let's use the art of war, let's use those weapons to create fear. I have this weapon, you don't have it. When you remember that, you run back to your shed. So those things now, when we started using it against our kind, it becomes a problem. Those things turned out to become to turn out to become a crisis, because these factors that are not good for us. So you see there are a lot of confusions, theories, and biologists will come up with their own theories. And most people will say that, look at what happened last year, the girls that were doing the rally protesting that that we should protect the Mother Earth. We need to protect the Mother Earth. But most people saw it as politics, right? But we have seen from analysis that we are having ecological decay. So, but this fear of destroying the Mother Earth should also inform us of the urgency to protect the Mother Earth. So you see how it started from the precise state of our existence to our evolving states. So we need to follow these histories as we have struggled of protecting our kind should also inform us the need and the urgency of protecting the ecosystem. So eco-crisis uh, brought the knowledge of ecofearism.
Wow, that's really exciting, and you know, there's so many different chapters in this book that people should know about. Uh, you know, chapter 1, the Cosmos Prima Corsa, understanding fear, ontological foundation of fear, what is the locus and meaning of fear, fear copy. This is, yeah, that was a great chapter. And then chapter 2, fearism, background of fearism and reality, fear connected technical worlds, fear territory, fear as deep philosophy. There's so many cool things in here, Ósìnàkáchì. And then chapter 3, which is the big one, introduction, importance to ecofearism, man as a microcosm, life, consciousness, knowledge, eco-crisis, ecofearism, the functions of ecofearism, why ecofearism is essential, ecosystem, human ecology and fearism, the Stone Age, farming age, Iron Age, industrial age, technological age, takes you all the way through the...
Can't hear you. Check your audio settings. Check your audio settings. Check your audio settings. I stopped hearing you. Check your audio settings. Okay, Steve, check your audio settings. I stopped hearing you.
Alone. Uncertainty. Doubt. Fear. In a strange place. Something stops you. Challenges test your strength. A rush of adrenaline. The light. The air. It is the moment. You
life. We have goals that depend on bodies and brains. We work and learn better. We love better when our bodies and our brains function better. At Thrivus, our goal is to help you improve your brain and body, to help you achieve your goals. So that's the power we encapsulate. Ready for help with your goals? Visit Thrivus.com.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here. This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main beam undervolt. Roger, main beam undervolt. Okay, stand by, 13. We're looking at it.
Hello, and I hope that we're back. Can you hear me, Ósìnàkáchì?
Yes.
All right, cool. I figured out what the issue was. That was a silly issue. I'm still having slight technical issues, which I'm not happy about. But that's all right. I'll slowly work out these issues over time. Now, what I was saying is why are we talking about ecofearism? You know, a lot of people today are talking about coronavirus. They're talking about biological fearism in terms of health outcomes and stuff like this. But it's because the environmental issues has not stopped, right? This is the degradation of the environment, although has been put on a slight bit of pause because of the coronavirus in terms of air quality and some other minor things. It's still going apace, and it's still going to come full circle and smack us in the face. The environment issue is not solved, and that's why we're talking about ecofearism. What the implications of ecofearism are. That's why this book is so important.
Yes, the book is so important because people tend to overlook the place of fear in our existential struggle, because things that you don't fear, people, okay, let me just put it this way. People think that fear is a wrong thing, is a wrong emotion, sorry. It's not a good consciousness. The Shuba, we call it a beautiful consciousness, because when you are afraid of something, you prepare for it, right? And so you prepare so as for the thing not to disgrace you. And like I said in my last chat with you, I explained that why you are struggling to survive in life is because of the fear of poverty, right? So now we are talking about what is happening in our ecosystem, what is happening in our world. So if we don't preserve the Mother Earth, if we don't preserve what happens here, whether through our action, directly or indirectly, we will suffer it together. Like when you bring up policies that we stop the or oil spillage or some sort of, for instance, a senator in the Senate president, in the Senate House, sorry, he was talking about the need for Nigerians to encourage electric cars, and those in the House were against the marriage. He said that it will affect the oil economy of Nigeria. They see, they're talking about gain, and you see, so most people play politics with the eco crisis. So this is not just the thing that we need to play with. So you're talking about green energy, planting, the need for plants. Look at what happened at the Amazon. We're talking about the need to plant trees. People are engaging in deforestation instead of afforestation. And you look at all those things, talking about the fire that is happening at the Amazon. The president was just like relaxed. No, we need each other to grow. Like I said last time, I said it is not about who wins or who loses. We need to come together to solve this problem and fight this together. You understand? It's all
Yeah,
about
and it's
humanity.
a primeval, and we need to harness a sort of primeval fear that we know we have. And the problem is that with humans is that because we kind of have that monkey instinct, we wait too long before we start to rationally solve problems, and we react at the last very moment when it's convenient for us to react, as opposed to when it's actually logically sound to react because it's not comfortable. And it's only a very few handful of people in history that have ever really thought ahead in terms of tens of years, hundreds of years, or thousands of years, and have invented technology or who have put in systems or have written down books and transferred knowledge that would assist us with many of the human problems that face us. And we do need to harness a certain fear, a positive fear on the environment. There's different types of fear, but positive fear on the environment, and to harness that before it's too late. And you can see some of this bleeding through with the environmental movement. You can see some of this bleeding through with the clean energy movement. You can see some of this bleeding through with the animal rights movement and stuff like that. I mean, some of this is bleeding through, but again, these people have to make their voice so loud and so loud, and that they stand out as kind of weird until they're not weird. You know what I mean? There's a certain mental transition that the normal public has to go through, and that's when that's when people cannot no longer ignore the issue. And if, we all felt like that with coronavirus. It's everybody was saying, oh, it might go away, it's going to go away, it's going to go away, until suddenly it's on your doorstep and you can't not deal with it because it's impacting your life, or you lost your job, or whatever. So that's the same thing with the climate. You can ignore it until the water's lapping at your door, or the rainforest is being deforested outside of your house, or whatever, until it's too late, until there's no more fish in your ecosystem, or no more birds in the sky, or something. I mean, this is one of the great tragedies with humans is we don't harness our potential when we can. We always leave it till that primal fear instinct kicks in, and then we choose fight or flight. And hopefully we can just say, no, we're rational beings, we're logical beings, and we can harness positive fearism before that point, right?
Yes, but we've tried to add more things to that psychological formula of freeze, flight, freeze, and fights principles. In fearism, we talked about fearless. Yes, because we believe that those who are superior men work in the sense of fearless. And it is not that you are devoid of fear. It means that you've mastered the principles that we call the fear management system as designed by fear educators. So you don't just say that there is no thing here, because courage is not the essence of fear. So when you still have these things, you still have this consciousness, but you have calculated and designed a way on handling this. So it is something that the world needs to also prepare for. And the idea, like we're debating, you told me the place of media in the information management, right? You said that the media will always be there to hide information, to blow things out of proportion. When I was here discussing about fear mongering and fact mongering, right? I talked about when information like this, when the novel coronavirus began, we were like confused. People started giving wrong statistical analysis about the whole thing. So we need to give what good factual analysis for fact mongering and not fear mongering. When you give a wrong start mongering fear, you give, it leads to people not having a better energy, not being stable enough to handle the situation. Even it affects both the government, the policymakers, and the individual person. Fear is contagious. So you need to analyze some of all these things from the background. We need people that give a better analysis. But it was in my explanation of this that you said the media will always blow things out of proportion. And I said it is not good, that we must learn how to handle and manage the media when it comes to information, informing people, educating people about situations at hand. So we need to know that in a situation when we have ecological crisis, or in the face of pandemic, we need to educate people, give people right information regarding the situation of the moment.
Absolutely. Well, I don't want to keep you up too long. I know it's very late there in Nigeria, and I really respect you for coming on and telling us about TAPS and ecofearism, this amazing book. that it's just absolutely, it's great. I mean, it's really, really good. It's the sort of thinking that we need in order to survive and thrive in the coming century, at least. But also as a plan of longevity over the centuries. So that's fantastic, and we need to learn from this. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? I want to let you get to. I want to let you get some sleep because I know it's almost 2 a.m. or something stupid over there. So hit me up, and then yeah.
Yes, I would love to give a shout out to our fans out there who have been supporting us, especially from the angle of TAFs. And it's been an amazing moment. I've loved to appreciate the U.S. Transhumanist Party. They have been there checking on us, trying to push our programs, and it not been easy, but I believe when you have someone supporting you, you will have the zeal to do more. So thank you for always checking on us, pushing us on all that. Okay, finally, I would like to give a brief summary of my two works, let work, the ecofearism and success mantra, decoding philosophy for a purposeful life. Thank you for about that. uh, People, when you look at the way our youths are behaving, how people are acting with what is happening on the media, I wrote the book before the issue of Hush Puppy, the Nigerian internet fraudster. The issue came up. I wrote the news and I've written couples of articles against this issue that is happening about internet fraud. I see it's affecting everyone, both the innocent Nigerians. And so when you want to discuss with anything with someone, people will say, okay, Nigerians, they are known for internet fraud and all that. I have come to meditate, reflect, and come up with that book that will help some youth to discover and actualize their purpose. That is Success Mantra. It was edited by Dr. Sarita Sharma. It's a book of few chapters, and the main focus is to help people find meaning in what they are doing and to guide them in actualizing their purpose. Every youth needs to have a copy of that book. And I want to send a message across the world that amidst all odds, we have wonderful Nigerians. And I know that there are Nigerians who are transparent, who want the good of the world, and who are working hard tirelessly in bringing out the best version of themselves and the world at large. That someone did something does not necessarily mean that everybody in the country is an internet fraudster. I've discussed with people I know it's affecting everything. It's affecting both Amazon. You see, we authors, published authors, they don't pay us cash, and they're saying, oh, you can't have an account, you can't be paid from Nigeria. Same with paper, and they will say on paper that you can send money, but you can't receive money if you have a Nigerian PayPal account. So the whole thing is confusing. The system is fighting against Nigerians, but that's not the best way. Nigeria is contributing in the growth and development of every country that they find themselves. If you go to United States of America, most of the medical health workers there, they are Nigerians. I mean, when you talk about people who are not indigenous Americans, when you talk about blacks there, I see a high percentage of the health workers there than Nigerians. You go to the tech industries, which Nigerians are doing well, but just little. When you have a prejudice and bias or wrong information about people, you tend to tag them to be bad. This all happened in our during our time of colonialism. So we experience all these things. Everyone, I know that most Nigerians have their own philosophy. Most people have their philosophy of doing what is wrong. But I keep on telling people that wrong is wrong, right is right, no matter who does. So no matter where it's coming from, whether you are white, you black, you are no matter where you are coming from. So right is right, wrong is wrong. There's no time that is too late uh, for us to make a peace. So if you see someone that is doing something wrong, hold the person responsible for the action and not the general, the general community of Nigeria. They see people, they say, okay, Nigerians are bad. It's happening now. So I urge us to understand this very fact, and every reasonable Nigerian condemn the very act of Hush Puppy and the colleague. So that's on that side. So talk about fearism. We have seen the place of fear in our existential struggle, the power of fear. We've seen how every system is closing, and people, it's affecting both employment rate, and it's causing a kind of people being sacked, losing their jobs, and the people should understand that all this is not just a wave or something that they need to fear, be afraid of. People shouldn't take their life, people shouldn't commit suicide. People should go back reflectively and see what they can do in helping themselves. And people should also make time for others. We need this sense of belonging. So we need to check on others to avoid suicide. Will I live because you live? I am because you are. So we should have this sense of humanness. We should check on people and know how they are faring to avoid the higher level of suicide and others across the world. And also, people should understand that what is happening is also in transition for us to enter into the age of automation. We've been discussing this in transhumanism, discussing it in singularity. So we should have this sense that there is a movement, there's something that is trying to happen and is becoming the new normal. We must learn how to adapt and live with it. And as we are living with it, we should also create more opportunity for ourselves. Just be job seekers, we should be creator of opportunities. So that is all I have for my audience and those who are listening to me.
I think that should be your next book, Ósìnàkáchì. You should do the fearism of labor. Automation, the fearism of automation. I think this is something that will be aimed at everybody, policymakers, citizens. Everybody has this fear, and how we can harness this fear, and what we should do. I think this would be a good book topic. I'd like to see that. I think it's a very relevant topic for the transitional phase that we live in now, and whether you like UBI or not or what, but they come with their own fears, So I think that'd be a great book, but it's always up to you. But I want to thank you, Ósìnàkáchì. I think this is a really fantastic quick catch up, and thanks for telling us what's happening with TAPS, and thanks for also expanding on eco-fearism and your fearism concept. And you got to keep marching forward with that. It's a really brilliant concept. And, we thank Dr. Michael Fisher there in Canada, Des Schuber, and others who are really expanding on fearism as a philosophy, as a topic, as an idea, because I think it's becoming more and more relevant. But I like this idea of the automation book. I'd like to see that. I think that's a really, really.
So I think I will look into it, because I'm writing my post COVID-19 creed. I have a book that I'm working on, post COVID-19 creed. Maybe I will give a chapter for it to look at fear of, to keep, sometimes these ideas comes to our minds, and we need to not just look at it theoretically, we need to contextualize it, because fearism, we don't just want to quote theories. When you write it, you need to bear in mind, harness look at the fear territories as opined by Basi Michael Enayo. You need to look at the fear territories so as not to move out of scope. People need to get the message, and in applying it, you need to write it in such a way that it works for them. You don't just look at it from your worldview. You talk with people from all parts of the world to see how they engage, how they are battling with these, they call it labor, fear of labor. Look, you need to look at policies. You need to look at policies. You know, just write those things about from your own worldview. You know, you need to look at policies, the recent way, the way that the people are automation is taking place. Like the last time at the preliminary stage of all this, and I told you that most people will be scared going back to school. And you see, quickly before then, universities started automating their courses, and people are attending school from home. So, and it affected some lecturers. So, lecturers one and two. So, it's affecting them. So, you see, a lot of things are changing, and people, this is the age where, according to Socrates and Plato, philosophers become king. If you don't know how to think critically as of the boss, you can't get employment. The world needs problem solvers, not people who create more problems for them.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Wow. That's really interesting. Well, thanks so much, Ósìnàkáchì. I want to let you get to sleep. I want you let you get some sleep. Very interesting thoughts there to mull over, think over. And I want to say thank you for coming on the show tonight, late your night, early morning, and keep up the good hard work. And we'll stay here. We'll keep promoting TAFS because we think TAFS is great. But if you have any new updates on TAFS, always let me know, and always let the audience know, because we're always interested to see what's happening with TAFS and your books. You know, I'm always going to read them and you know, stay connected with Dr. Fisher and Deshuber and others who are involved with fearism, because this is really important as well. But yes, we will continue here on Detonation and the Archer Report, talking about labor, talking about automation, the ecology, the environment, space, everything like that. So thank you very much. Really, really appreciate your time and your effort. And, you know, we'll talk to you really soon, all right?
Okay, thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so much. That's Ósìnàkáchì, everyone. That's TAFS. That's the Transdisciplinary Agora discussion for future discussions. This is a really, really important organization. If you can, you know, have a look at it. Do whatever you can to support, share their content around. This is really important. And also a book, which you'll see in the link, Eco-Fearism. It's all about fearism in the ecological sense as a subsect. So this is also really important. We've just done a show on that. I'll try and leave the link in the description so you can get a copy of that, and so you can kind of know how your own mental processes are working through the ideas of a changing, collapsing, and changing environmental system. So this is very, very important that people get to know this. Thank you very much, Ósìnàkáchì. We'll see you on the other side.
Okay, thank you so much.